Alex Bauer, who leads the center at the University of Göttingen, was coming to the United States, coming to California, actually to go to Yosemite on a hiking trip. And he found us. He sent us an email, and we were like, okay, we'll meet. And really, I think to all of our surprise, like the four of us, Bob Weisberg, David Skolansky, Alex Bauer, and I, we could already identify there might be some magic in that partnership.
We were excited about the possibility of collaborating with him because it seemed to us that his center was interested in a lot of the same questions we were interested in. I think all of us have long thought that American legal education in criminal law and in every other field could use more comparative work. Germany has a civil law system of adjudication, which is very different than our system. They have a very different history than our history. They have different things that are haunting them. For that reason, their criminal justice system has evolved in different ways.
We both decided that we would select 7 German law students and 7 Stanford law students to come together as a cohort and participate in this course. The first week of the course would be in Germany, go into a few spots in Germany based on what we were going to be visiting. And then the second week was going to be here in Northern California. In both places, we tried to do the same things. Introduce students to the entirety of the criminal legal system by visiting those institutions.
What really caught my eye was the international exchange component of the course, because I feel like it's such a unique opportunity to talk to different people, come from different backgrounds, and kind of gives you a fresh perspective on your new system. I think it's very valuable because you actually you have a direct comparison on different approaches. So you can actually see, okay, what are the disadvantages and the advantages of our own system and compare them to the American system.
We tend to be somewhat myopic about our own systems. And it's only when we get out of our system that we begin to see what other systems could look like, both in terms of processes, but also in terms of principles. In looking at another system, we actually become more reflective about our own system.
Growing up in America, you get so used to the way things are and the way things have always been. And it's sometimes hard to recognize that things actually can be different. And so going to Germany and seeing really how different things were, and also the ways in which things were actually very similar, was really eye-opening.
I think one of the most notable things that came up in a lot of conversations, especially with the other German law students, was the impact that definitions and theory can have as it trickles down throughout the rest of the system. Part of the German definition of punishment includes rehabilitation and reentry and resocialization. And that became really apparent in everything from the way the programming was conducted while people were incarcerated to the approach that many people involved in the system kind of came to their jobs with. I think that was really eye-opening.
It was important to us when designing the course that the students be exposed to incarceration in both countries, to policing in both countries, and to adjudication in both countries. So that meant that we wanted them to watch criminal proceedings in courtrooms. We wanted them to visit prisons, and we wanted them to hang out with police officers, with judges, prosecutors, and defense attorneys. So we did that in both countries.
We had the opportunity to watch a bit of a court proceeding in Germany. It was an assault case, and they were questioning a witness. It was the most impactful moment because it was the starkest difference between the US and the German system. And we got to speak with the defense attorney and the prosecutor and a judge afterwards, and we were just able to ask all of these questions. I think our minds were just blown, and we had so many questions, and it was by far the best experience.
The structure of the class was the most unique experience I think I've had in law school so far. And as a result of that, we got to use each other as thought partners and engage in dialogue in between class sessions and afterwards. I think I made friends for life as a result of getting to know my German colleagues really well. And every time we had knowledge gaps about something about Germany and how their criminal justice system operates, they had the answers, and we had the exact same thing on the American side. So that relationship with the German students was really unique and special.
I think it's very, very helpful for students to see a system that works differently. Not necessarily better, but differently. It's important for them to develop the habit of thinking critically about the systems that they're a part of, the systems that they help to operate, and always keeping in the back of their mind whether there are ways in which maybe fundamental aspects of that system should be changed.
The most important part of it is actually learning about your own system, because you're so enmeshed in it. In German legal studies, you do 5 or 6 years of it. There have been times where, for the first time in a couple of years, you're faced with someone asking you, but why is it actually like that? And to have to reflect upon it and to express that is probably the main benefit of doing comparative studies.
I was surprised by how many students identified this seminar as being, and I'm using their words, life-changing. They identified this as being, the pinnacle of their law school career experience, that this was the best class that they've taken, that this class is going to have the most impact on their life as they move forward as lawyers. The skills and the experience they will keep with them, and it will guide them as they move through their legal career.